This program contains language that is intended for mature or immature audiences. Anyone affiliated with this train wreck of a show assumes no responsibility for its content. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to hide the kids and pop the top on a cold one. Coming to you from the extravagant studio at SAA Productions in Charleston, West Virginia, please welcome the inebriated cast of Section 304.
All right, here we are, the fourth edition of Section 304, the podcast. Bi-week episode. I'm here with my boy Lou, Vino drinking Cam, and John Crum. We're all here. What'd you guys get into on the bye week?
Well, yesterday I was pretty tied up. I was at a wedding yesterday, but I didn't get to watch a whole lot of football until the evening games. But I had a pretty nice day yesterday. It was pretty cool.
14 hours of football nonstop till the Bama-Ole Miss game wrapped up.
Cam?
I didn't do a fucking thing. Played some video games, watched football. It was awesome. Very relaxing.
On a Saturday, there's college football from wall to wall, and you're going to tell me you played video games.
Played a little bit of video games.
What video game did you play? Because it's unacceptable if you say anything other than Madden or like NBA 2K. If you're playing like fucking Dungeons and Dragons, we're going to remove you from the group.
I played Destiny. They had a new expansion.
Stop. Just stop talking right now. Stop, nerd. We don't want to hear it. Destiny. What are you, battling dragons? You riding in your new purple armor, drinking vino in your video game too?
It's kind of a space adventure. I was fighting the Taken King.
Okay, we're done.
All right,
We're done with your day.
We just lost some listeners.
I moved a refrigerator and a stove, and for my actions of moving those, I was given 2 liters of vodka, and I drank half that liter of vodka last night.
Nice.
Half of one of those liters, and I enjoyed watching the Tide get rolled.
I'm not a big fan of Alabama. Actually, I'm not a big fan of any SEC school. So anytime an SEC school can lose, that's a good day in my book. Them and Notre Dame. Anytime SEC loses and Notre Dame loses, it's a great day in my house.
Nick Saban he strikes me as a huge asshole. I don't care for him. Maybe if he was coaching here, maybe I would love him. But I don't know, man. There's nothing better for me. The only thing that would have made yesterday better, like you said, if Notre Dame got beat, which wasn't going to happen yesterday, and I would have loved to have seen Northern Illinois pull that against Ohio State.
That would have been a good one, too.
I came away with more of an appreciation for Skylar Howard, to be honest with you all. I watched football all day and saw several quarterbacks that overthrew receivers, made very poor decisions. And I think the fact that we got a guy who takes care of the ball, maybe he misses a throw here and there, but I put a premium on taking care of the ball. Because if you watch that Ohio State game, I mean, they had 5 turnovers. Same with Alabama. And, I mean, you got to take care of the ball if you want to win. Ohio State almost lost to Northern Illinois. They don't drop 4 or 5 spots in the poll. I mean,
if you manage and keep a hold of the ball, that's +7 automatically in any game.
The spread on that game was ridiculous. It's like 35 points or some bullshit. The over's like 60. I got to wonder if Cardell Jones is just taking payments. Like, I mean,
I don't think he's the kind of guy who's going to take getting moved to the bench very.
No, did
he's
you
not
see?
Going to be very cool with that.
I read this morning he had switched his Twitter page to Cardell Jones, second-string quarterback OSU. So obviously the guy hasn't learned since he put up his bullshit Twitter remark that I'm not here for school.
Let's bring this back to WVU. How great is it that Dana picked the QB? I mean, we don't got to deal with that.
I'm going to tell you this.
And Alabama dealt with the same thing last night. They benched the guy they started pretty quickly.
You guys know that when we came into this, I'm not a huge Skylar Howard guy, but he's grown on me, fellas. Last night I may have just accepted the fact that Skylar Howard, he's our guy.
Hop on that Skyho bandwagon, buddy.
That's what it looks like I'm going to have to do. And I've started to accept him, and I've also thought about the fact that, if Howard goes down, is William Crest ready? I'd like to think he is, and I'd like to see it, but I don't know if he's ready to go, and he hasn't really shown that in the games that he's played in so far.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with Howard. And hopefully we'll know a little bit more about him next week at Maryland, and we'll get into that later in the show. But in today's show, one of the things we were going to talk about, and I think we even posted in our Facebook group and had a lot of great responses, was we're going to get into talking about our all-time WVU fantasy teams here on the show. And in the second half of the show today, we're going to be joined by WVU Sports Hall of Famer, famous Amos Zereoue, is going to be joining us via phone. So we'll get to throw some questions at famous Amos. And two of the guys, Matt and Cam, have decided that they were going to try to
There's no try. We'll succeed.
Join what they call the Century Club. They don't have enough time in this show to do the full 100.
We started before we got here.
So they are going to go for the full 100, and that is basically taking a shot of beer every minute for 100 minutes.
Or
Cam's got a regular shot glass. Durrett looks like a double.
That's a BB King shot glass. I got that on my trip to Memphis.
This is going to go about as well as Auburn's season's going right now.
Yeah.
I can tell that right now.
So
I hope I don't throw a backwards pass and drop my beer.
So these guys are on beer 28 and trying to become members of the Century Club. Shot 28. Sorry, shot 28.
I opened my morning with a decently strong Monster and vodka drink because I woke up last night, or I woke up this morning, I should say, and I felt as though there may be some issues if I didn't just hair of the dog and get right into it.
I would also like to add that Durrett weighs at least 150 pounds more than
I don't know why weight has to come into this, douche. Why are we talking weight? You don't need to discuss my weight. I'm just happy to see you've made it again today, and you're actually drinking beers instead of your wine coolers. So don't bring my weight up ever again. I'm very sensitive about that. And here, cheers. Clink the glass. Do it for the sound.
All right.
There we go.
So what we're going to dive into is let's go ahead and start talking about our all-time WVU fantasy teams. And I guess what we'll do is kick around. We'll go with the offense first. And Diddy?
What are the chances that any of us have the same guys?
Probably not good because I actually cheated a little bit and moved some people around that where they weren't traditionally known as but had played that position earlier in their careers.
I'm going to think that involves Mr. Porter.
I got two that I went with their pro positions, not what they played at WVU.
Right.
When I give my team, you'll see why.
So let's, Matt, I'm going to start with you. Why don't you give us your offensive? Let's do our offensive lines first.
Offensive line. I went with Donnie Barclay, who is now currently with the Packers. Your boy, Lou, Brian Joswiak, who was a very high pick. I also took Solomon Page, and then I went with Rich Brom, who played for the Bengals for a long time. Right. That was my offensive line. I'm going to tell you, that was a struggle for me because in looking at it, you don't necessarily pay that much attention to the line. It's more of a skill set thing. So I kind of cheated and went back and looked. I knew who Solomon was, and I knew Barclay, obviously, but I was not old enough to watch Joe's play. But anybody who's selected that high in the draft, you got to put him on your offensive line, right? Did
you select a tight end? Because I included the tight end on my line.
I did. I took Mr. Anthony Becht as my tight end.
Good pick.
I like that. I mean, hell, I think he's really the last time we used a tight end was when we had Anthony Becht. We haven't really seen much of a tight end with Rich and Dana. So I went with Anthony Becht, the guy who I saw play.
And these guys, let them do their shot.
That one's easy.
All right, so Crum.
Okay, I went a little more historical than you guys. I got Joe Stidehar, who's a Pro Football Hall of Famer. He played for us in the 30s, and he anchored the Bears line in the 40s. He's one of the greatest offensive linemen ever in the NFL. I got Mike Compton, who was a consensus All-American in 92. Then he played in the NFL for well over a decade. I got Remington award-winning Dan Moses. He was also a consensus All-American. I got Joswiak, and then I have Bruce Bolesley, who was also a consensus All-American. Tight end is Anthony Becht. I struggled between Beck and Lovett Purnell, but thought Anthony Beck had 3 good years as opposed to Purnell's 2.
Love it or leave it.
See, I feel bad now because Crum came in and he gave those guys out, and he had so much like of a backstory about consensus All-American and this. I feel like I didn't really do my research, and I feel bad now.
Well, you did better than Cam because he didn't even bring a fucking list.
Cam's a failure.
Hey, you guys said fantasy. I went with fantasy positions.
It's not. What do you mean fantasy positions, Tool?
The O-line doesn't play fantasy football.
Oh, get the fuck.
All right.
I'm not going to use the F word for obvious reasons. I've been
late.
told to tone my F word down. But
Your grandma
get the
can't
fuck
listen to
outta
the
here,
show.
dude.
Your grandma can't listen to the show if you drop the F-bomb.
Exactly, and I want my grandma to listen to the show. I'm a grandma's boy. So why don't you ease back? But you need to get on your little iPad and figure your team out and write it down.
We'll come around to Cam when it comes time for the fantasy positions, his Dungeons and Dragon fantasy positions.
Diddy,
All right, so
how
what
could you leave Dan Moses off, man?
Well, I thought about him, and then I was like, you know what, man? Solomon Page had a really long career in the NFL. He's with the Cowboys and whatnot. And it came down to Moses and Page, and I took Solomon because I respected the work he put in the NFL. And honestly, no disrespect to Dan Mose. If you ever listen to this show, bro, I loved you as a player. But Page just had a long NFL career, and I couldn't pass him up.
All right. So, well, I went with a center, 2 guards, 2 tackles, and a tight end. Center, I have Dan Moses at center. And my 2 guards, and here's where I cheated a little bit. I've got Bruce Bosley, all right, at guard. Now, at my other guard, because I had to figure out a way to get some other guys on the defensive side, I put Sam Huff at guard. He played guard early in his career. It's back in the 50s when they played both ways.
Lou's hitting some knowledge on you guys right now too.
So I cheated a little bit,
little research here,
and put Huff at guard. And my 2 tackles are obvious, and we've had a lot of great tackles at West Virginia. When you look back at it, when you sit down and look at it, we've had a lot of great ones. But my 2. Obviously, Mike Compton was a beast, Super Bowl winner with the Patriots, and my boy Joe Zwiak. He was, listen, dude was a monster at West Virginia. I mean, in 85, 86, he was rocking a mohawk, and he worked the door like at nightclubs in Morgantown and just kicked ass on the field, then kicked ass throwing people out of nightclubs.
Instead, like Joe's was the Boz before the Boz.
Basically,
the Boz ripped off the Joes.
Yeah, so
Joe's, if you've ever been to any of Lou's Sugar Bowl Foundation events, Joe's is that guy who shows up and he asks for the huge beer stein, but he, instead of beer, he gets Crown and Cokes in it, and it's just impressive, dude.
Yeah, he drinks
this
mixed
shot's
drinks
for Joe's.
He drinks mixed drinks out of the big beer mugs. So
great guy too.
And then at tight end, of course, my man Anthony Becht. Lover Purnell, I went back and forth a little bit too with him, but Becht is my all-time.
Becht really was, I think, in the grand scheme of things. Like, Becht has been probably the best tight end we've ever had.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
Lover Purnell was tough.
I concur.
He's good on TV too. I heard him yesterday.
And that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I mean, let's not slight this dude. I mean, he had a good NFL run with the Jets. He did his time there with the Jets, and then I think he was with the Bucks. And now he's on TV, and he's actually acceptable on TV, unlike Ray Lewis and Michael Irvin and some of these dick faces that they hire at ESPN who are just trash and get hired because they're ex-players. Beck knows his shit. He's a good dude.
Yeah, he's killing it on television. All right, let's move to our wide receivers. And the way I did mine, I picked 2 wide outs in a slot. I don't know how you guys did it, but Durrett, who you got?
Man, I mean, let's be honest. We got to start it with, just an RIP, Slim Henry. That guy was one of the best to ever do it. He was just a monster out there, out deep. And RIP Slim, you're number 1 on my list, bro. And then I went with the nice hands of Stedman Bailey. I love that dude. I think he's right there behind Slim as far as wide receivers go in West Virginia history for me. That guy caught everything thrown at him, and I think he was undervalued. And then my last one, I think this one might throw you guys for a little loop.
Is this your slot receiver? Or just
this is my guy. I'm going to put it. He played out wide when he was there, but in my fantasy group, I put him at the wide receiver / position. My main man, Corey Ivy. I love the dude, Corey Ivy. Everybody,
straight out of Florida, number 8, man. Yeah, Corey was solid.
Corey caught a lot of balls, had great hands. I struggled with that one because I wanted to go with Foreman or Saunders. But then I thought about it, and I was like, nah, man, I got to go with my guy, Corey Ivy. Nobody's going to give Corey Ivy any love today. I wanted to give Corey Ivy some love. He was one of my favorites. I really enjoyed watching that guy play.
KI gets some love. All right. Do you have anything? Did you do your homework, Cam?
I did. I picked receivers because they're an actual
let me
fantasy
show you.
position.
This is how fantasy works for us nerds. We only play quarterbacks and receivers and tailbacks. We don't even know what a tight end is. I was too busy playing Dungeons and Dragons.
I got Gronk on my fantasy team.
Who you got? 3
All right.
receivers.
I'm outside receivers. I've got Saunders and James Jett. For inside, I got Tavon.
So
Mr.
David
Austin.
Saunders, James Jett, and Tavon Austin at the slot. Honestly, I don't know how you'd put anybody else at any other position because Tavon,
Yeah,
Tavon's a stud. Tavon's that guy. I wanted to go against the norm, though.
Well, I even picked kick returners and stuff to even work some guys in. So he may come back up on some lists. Crum, what do you got, bud?
I just did 2. We're running a Don Nealon power I. So with the tight end, you only have 2 receivers, and I have Stedman. I think Stedman's our best receiver ever. The numbers back that up. He was also a Biletnikoff finalist. He had 26 touchdowns in one season, over 1,600 yards. And you can say that's being in a system, but, man, he was good. I just remember him dominating LSU. LSU had the Honey Badger.
Right.
And, I mean, he was out there just going toe-to-toe with those guys. Then my other wide receiver was Tavon. I honestly think Stedman was a better pure receiver than Tavon. Tavon was more of a flex, like,
He's just
slot
an
guy,
athlete,
yeah,
period.
but-
You can put him anywhere.
but he was also a really good receiver too. So I got those 2 guys.
Well, of course, I have 2 wideouts in a slot, and I went a little bit different than what everybody else did. I had what I always called the Randy Moss before Randy Moss. My boy Reggie Rembert. He was 6'5",
Yeah.
ran a 4.4, 4.3. He was that dude back in the late 80s. They couldn't cover him. I mean, he would run those post patterns across the middle, and it would just be party over for the defensive backs. My other wide receiver, I think physically, probably the best physical wide receiver that we probably would have ever had they used him at the position the whole time. Jerry Porter. Dude was just a beast. Obviously had a great career with the Oakland and Raiders.
That guy was a freak, dude.
Yeah, but when they moved him to wide receiver his senior year, and even in '97.
Can you imagine him and Rich's offense as a quarterback?
Oh well, yeah, he came as a quarterback out of the
That's
DC
out of
area.
DC.
And-
Bulger beat him out. Bulger was pretty good, but if he got to play in one of those spread offenses, my God.
But hands down, probably one of the best physical wide receivers we've ever had.
He might be the best athlete we've ever had.
One of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Porter
do
was
you-
solid.
Do you remember when against Ball State when he jumped over
Yes.
the center and just blocked an extra point?
Yep.
And you got to think, man, that guy played safety. That he, if I'm not mistaken, I think he lined up at corner every now and again. He played safety, corner, quarterback, receiver. Hell, he may have even lined up in the backfield a time.
I think
or
he
two.
returned kicks.
I think he
too.
returned.
Yeah, I mean, he was a freak. He was a badass.
So JP is, and then of course in my slot receiver. I mean, obviously it's Tavon Austin.
See, I wanted to go against the grain. I knew you guys would I knew you guys would give Tavon his love, so I had to give my boy coming out of Florida. I had to give my boy Chaos some love.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on to the quarterback position. I don't know if there's really much debate for me, but quarterbacks. Did he
I took Bulger, dude.
explain?
Mark Bulger is just one of those guys. Like, I think as a Mountaineer fan, I've lived through some quarterbacks, and it seems like every year the quarterback takes a lot of heat, and that's understandable. He's the guy with the ball in his hands all the time. Bulger took a lot of shit, but man, if you look back at his numbers, that guy had an amazing career, and I just think Mark Bulger was. I think Mark Bulger is the best quarterback we ever had, and you can certainly, if you're going to let me, I'm going to take a quarterback too, and I'd go with Pat White, and I'd base that just on the fact he's undefeated in bowls, and the way Pat burst onto the scene against Louisville. Pat's up there for me too, but Mark Bulger's my guy. Like, if you told me I had to pick one to go out and get the game for me, I'm going Mark Bulger all day.
Cam.
I'm going with the major. Total dual threat. He was Pat White before Pat White was alive. Well, not alive, but before he was at WVU.
And you're really slacking today, bro. You're saying a lot of dumb stuff.
I am.
I mean, you are so brutal.
I'm drinking.
Man. I mean, you've had like 3 beers and you're off the walls. You don't even know what you're talking about half the time.
I don't.
Maybe we retire you. I don't know. Maybe we.
I want you to look at this picture on Facebook right now. You dwarf me in this picture.
That's because I'm sitting on a stool.
This has
Cam.
nothing to do with Major Harris, but this is an embarrassing picture. I look like a fucking midget compared to Durrett.
I'm sitting on a stool, Cam. I'm sitting on a stool.
So
get back to why you picked Mage.
So Mage.
I'll
sorry.
let Crum have it.
All right, Crum.
I got Major. Major's the best player ever in Mountaineer football history, in my opinion. He changed the game. He took us to the pinnacle, almost won the national championship.
Do you guys ever sit back and think like how unfair it is for Major that he was before his time?
Yeah,
Like,
I've had that conversation with him.
Exactly, because you look at like Mike Vick, and Mike Vick's hailed as, he was the greatest thing to ever come around. He's the first pick by the Falcons. And Mage was actually more accurate with his arm and had a cannon, and Vick's a little wild accuracy-wise. And like, I feel like it's almost just unfair to Major, and Major really doesn't get his love and respect that he should have, because Major was the trendsetter who allowed for people like Mike Vick to play that position,
right?
And made that position what it, kind of the slash quarterback.
He was 10 to 12 years before his time. If he was playing today, Mage would be a multimillionaire, hands down. And that was my pick, Major Harris. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Took us to the national championship game. If he doesn't get hurt, I believe he wins the national championship.
I believe that was a cheap shot by Notre Dame, by the way. And just for any of you Notre Dame trolls listening, we don't like your team. We don't respect your team. We hate your team.
Brian Day.
You cheap shotted the Mage. So you can all kiss ass, eat shit, and fall back in it. We hate you, Notre Dame. You're dead to all of us here.
All right, so let's move on. We'll talk a little bit about let's go running back, fullback.
Oh, running back. My running back was the man we're going to talk to today. Famous Amos, baby. Anybody who takes their first carry to the house against Pitt, that's my guy. My number 2 running back would be Stevie Slayton. Love the way he cut Georgia
What's
up.
this number 2 shit all of a sudden?
Man, I mean, give me a break.
It's an hour show, dude.
Give me a break. My number 2 is Stevie Slayton, the fullback, obviously. I'm going to go 2 there, too. I'm going to go Wes Howard and Owen Schmidt.
Oh. All right. Cam?
I'm also going Steve Slayton, and let me go Quincy Wilson for my number 2. Give him some love out today.
Wait, what is this number 2 shit?
You're talking about fantasy football.
You have 2 tailbacks,
fucking
bro.
2 running
It's
backs.
not fantasy football. It's
That's what
your
it was.
your all-time team.
That's the way it was conveyed to me. It was my
right.
fantasy WVU fantasy.
Give us your
team.
top ones. It's an hour show.
I got
So-
Amos.
Amos Zereoue.
Yeah, I think if you'd have put him in Rich's offense, he'd have rushed for a lot of yards,
Yeah.
basically.
And it's funny, and you can see on my sheet, I had Steve Slayton, just because Steve was a beast, but I changed it. I mean, it's literally they're totally even to me. I switched it to Amos Zereoue, and the only reason being is Steve couldn't stay healthy when we needed him.
He was an All-American.
He was a consensus All-American, but it just seemed like he just had the injury bug at WVU, and to me, and that's really was the decision maker. So I went Amos Zereoue, and with my fullbacks, I have a split, and it's the only split because I really couldn't make a decision.
Wait a minute. What's this 2?
It's not 1 and 2. It's just a split because I couldn't make a choice. It was Jim Braxton, which I don't know if you guys know who Jim Braxton is.
I do. All-American.
All-American.
Block for OJ.
Yep. And they actually named Braxton Towers after Jim. And Ron Wolfley played for the Cardinals. He was a beast, man. He was an all-pro. Realistically, those guys set the bar for fullbacks at West Virginia. So those were my 2. And, man, you just flip a coin with those 2. So
I'm going further back than the 70s with Braxton. I'm going back to 1919 with Ira Eric Rogers. If you read up on this guy,
Jesus, 1919?
you have to read about it.
As you say, did you get some highlights of that?
crack a book.
My man.
Read about him, man.
This guy was our first All-American, and he basically was the best player in the country that year. He would have won the Heisman had they had the Heisman back in 1919.
And
he led the country in scoring. And I'm going to tell you how good this guy was. Slayton broke his all-time TD record in 2006. That means his record stood from 1919 to 2006.
Jesus
and did I say that he led the nation in scoring? He kicked. He threw 11 touchdown passes before they really passed, and I think he had like 18 touchdowns on the ground.
Crum, I got to give you a bump across the table for that shit, man. You're bringing it hard today. You're coming with this stuff. 1919? Oh, my God. Cam, next shot. To Crum's fullback. To Crum's fullback. Let's do it. I mean, pour it, dude. You're so... God, why do we even have him here?
Get the fuck out of here, Durrett.
Why do we even have him?
All right, real quick, because we're running
long. Let's just do the whole deep. Let's just do like the corners and whatnot.
Well, hold on. You guys have kickers and punters?
I got a kicker.
All right.
This might be controversial. I got Josh Lambert.
I didn't do any kick. I'm going to take McAfee. Like, if you're going to put me on this.
Let me ask you something. If the game's on the line, who do you want kicking, Lambert or McAfee?
Patty Mack.
Are you serious?
Yep, I think I'll take
Did
him.
you watch the Colorado and Pitt game?
Lambert's hit a lot of
blame
big
that on
shots.
Stu.
I'm taking Patty Mack just based off his personality. Right. That's why I'm going to take Patty Mack, because he's fun. He seems to be an outgoing guy. So let's move the kickers off the table.
My kicker was McAfee, but my punter was Todd Sauerbrunn.
Same here.
He was a fucking.
He was a beast. He was a beast.
All right, let's move to the defense. Let's move this along a little bit.
You just want to run them all real quick.
Well, just it's hard to kind of run them like that. So let's do this. Go around. Let's give me your defensive line, and then
my defensive line would be at nose tackle John Thornton, at end Bruce Irvin, and then Renardo Turnbull. Obvious reasons right there, people. If you don't know who John Thornton was, crack Crumb's book that takes him to 1919 and look him up, because John Thornton was that dude.
Yeah, he was a monster.
Bruce Irvin's easy for anybody who's watched the fucking Mountaineers in the last 10 years. You know who Bruce is. You know what Bruce does. And Turnbull was just an animal.
Crumb.
I got a four-man front. I got
what I
Mike Fox and John Thornton on the inside. Fox played for the New York Giants for Parcells, won a Super Bowl.
Yep.
Diddy expanded on John Thornton. Great. On the end, I got Turnbull, and then I have Canute Curtis.
See, that was weird. You know, Canute's listed as a linebacker. So this is, but I know they played him in the down position. But good pick.
I think he led the nation in sacks, didn't
Yes.
he? Number one defense, 96.
Consensus All-American.
Yeah.
For me, I had 2 tackles, 2 defensive ends. I had John Thornton and John Browning at tackle. And then I just picked 2 defensive ends. I have Gary Stills, my man, 55. Listen.
Don't you have his Chiefs jersey?
Yes, I still wear that damn thing and have wore it to this show. And then, of course, Bruce Irvin. But let me tell you something about Gary Stills. Gary was a beat. He was a monster. He broke his kneecap in half. Sat out a week and came back and played. Dude played with more injuries. That kid couldn't catch a break, and they could not block him. Chad Pennington is still picking his dick out of the dirt from where he would come around in and just light Chad Pennington up. I laughed my ass off in '97 when they couldn't even block Stills.
Is that the Marshall game when Marshall fans think, oh, if we had one more quarter,
It didn't matter, man. Gary Stills was on Chad Pennington's ass.
Zereoue was the best player on the field that day.
Let me put this in real quick for you
says.
Marshall fucking fans. If you guys are out there listening, let me put this in for you. One more quarter, my ass. Neyland had a third team, and you guys couldn't do shit. You had Moss and Pennington. Moss is one of the baddest, if not the baddest, wide receiver in the NFL. You guys couldn't do shit. Stay in Huntington and stay in your lane.
Wait. You realize we're recording in a Marshall fan's house right now, right?
Yeah. Let's
show
keep
some
it
respect.
moving. Let's keep it moving here. Linebackers, give me your 3. Give me your linebackers.
My linebackers, baby. Let's hit it. Barrett Green, Grant Wiley, Gary Stills, and then I took Canute Curtis. I put 4 linebackers in there. I'm running an awkward defense.
Okay.
I'm going super awkward on you guys.
I don't know if Gary Stills was he considered a linebacker.
I struggled with him. He was.
I looked it up,
in,
fellas.
outside,
Well,
yeah.
they played down. They
Yeah.
played net 4-3, and then they switched back and forth. All right, Cam, do you have linebackers, or you didn't do any?
Of course they don't. You only get to pick one defense in fantasy football. I don't have linebackers.
All right, Crumb.
What
I moved Sam Huff to linebacker. Like you said, he
Yeah.
was an All-American guard, but
Right.
he's a Hall of Famer as the linebacker. And then I have Daryl Talley on the outside and Grant Wiley.
My 3 linebackers, I have, of course, Grant Wiley was a monster. He's WVU's all-time leading tackler.
Virginia
Daryl Talley and Canute Curtis were my 3 linebackers. All right, here's where it can get fun.
Corners.
Let's talk about our defensive backs.
Corners, baby.
I have 4 defensive backs. And go.
My corners, obviously my dude. He kind of fucked us over on that first week's show, but it's the Bees. My favorite Mountaineer, your favorite Mountaineer, 32 in the program, number 1 in my heart forever, the Bees. And then I go with my boy Pac-Man, jamming Amari Cooper's head off his helmet last week. Love it, Pac. Keep it up. Don't let him keep you down, bro. You're doing big things. I love it. The Vegas shootings bullshit. That wasn't on you.
Make it rain,
And then
Pac-Man.
I'm going to go Mike Logan at safety, Carl Joseph. Carl Joseph's one of the hardest hitting, baddest dudes I've ever seen. I love it. Those are my guys.
All right, so you got those are your 4. Crumb.
I got the exact same thing that Diddy has, believe it or not. I moved Logan to safety. He was
Boom.
a corner in Morgantown, but he played as a nickelback safety for the Steelers for years. And I put Carl Joseph there. I know he started every single game of his career. That's got him. I struggled to find safeties, though. I couldn't really find great safeties Whereas the corners, it was no brainer for me.
Right.
Pack and Beasley.
I basically just selected 4 defensive backs, and I went with Aaron Beasley, Pac-Man Jones, Bo Orlando.
Bo's another good dude, man. You have him to your
he's
foundation stuff. If you guys haven't hit loose foundation, you got to get there. Bo Orlando's a cool ass guy to hang out with.
Bo played like 12 years in the league, and he's only about
the Oilers.
At the Oilers, and and Bo's like 5'9", maybe 5'9".
But Bo gets chicks too.
Yeah,
Bo gets chicks.
He was the heart and soul of the 88
defensive backs.
Defense, yeah.
Bo does well.
Bo gets chicks. I'm telling y'all, Lou puts on these foundations. What's the one this year with Baylor?
Yeah,
is Bo coming?
I haven't selected
because if you roll out with Bo gets chicks, and I think by default, if you're rolling with Bo, maybe you get a little fallout. I'm just saying, Bo and Sheed get chicks, and maybe you get some fallout from those two.
Well, my 4th pick was Mike Logan. I mean, obviously Logan and Beasley are probably the best dual, defensive backs. But those are my 4. And real quick, go around the horn. Did you guys pick punt returners?
I took just an athlete. Like I just took an athlete. My athlete was Jerry Porter. None better. Just a freak show athlete. I took Jerry Porter.
I got Pac-Man as the punt returner and Tavon as the kickoff returner.
Tavon again for me.
We wouldn't expect you to do too much.
I couldn't figure out how I wanted to get him in there, so I put him in my punt returner. But Danny Buggs, if your listeners don't know who the hell Danny Buggs was basically Tavon before Tavon. He was so damn fast. Returns a punt against Maryland, breaks their back, and was just an All-American wide receiver. Wins a Super Bowl. I mean, and one of the nicest guys on the planet. Danny came in for one of my events a few years ago, and if you're listening out there, look him up, read his books. He's just the best all-around mountaineer walking the planet. So Danny Buggs.
I think this was a pretty solid little segment right here with the fantasy teams.
Yeah,
for a bye week, I mean, you really don't have much to talk about. I think this was pretty solid for us guys.
Well,
I like hearing Crumbs.
Homework.
Well, Cam's Cam. The guy's playing D&D. Give him a break. He's got shitty bottles of 7-Eleven wine that he's popping, probably sitting around in his undies playing D&D, being a complete tool on a Saturday. What'd you do on Saturday on the bye week? I played D&D. I didn't watch any football.
Hey, fuck you. I watched a whole lot of football.
What game did you watch, Cam? Did you watch half of the Alabama game? Did you watch half?
What did I watch yesterday?
Exactly. Stop. You're out. Let's move on.
Well, listen, before we go to the break, I want to just invite all of our listeners out there. Next Saturday for the Maryland game, we're going to be throwing our tailgate, and we want you guys to swing by, say hello, come by, get yourself something to eat. We're going to have some food.
We'll have some beers.
Yeah, there'll be a couple cold beers there.
There's going to be beers.
But we're going to be over in the blue lot.
Roast dog.
Over in the blue lot in section C11, and I want to thank our friends at Bogies and also Scaff Construction for helping us put this on.
Yeah.
So we're going to be facing
Bird in there too, Lou. Remember, Bird and Scaff do the thing together, so we would be remiss if we didn't throw our boy Bird in there too. Thank you, Bird and Scaff.
Bird,
Yeah,
so
thank you, Andrew.
It's Scaff Construction and also Bogies and Andrew Bird's helping us out with this. So we'll be facing C12, but in section C11. So make sure you stop by our tailgate next weekend. Get yourself some food. We'll have plenty of koozies to hand out. So come by and see us. So we're going to take a break, and after the break, we're going to be talking with WVU Sports Hall of Famer Amos Zereoue. Do you love West Virginia? Check out Home Furnishings by Bearwood Company. Log into bearwoodcompany.com and put West Virginia pride in your decorating design. The Bearwood Company, always home. For the best in vintage advertising signs, World War II collectibles, collectible vinyl records, and coins, check out our friends at Red Fox Antiques and Collectibles in Scott Depot, right off I-64, exit 40. This isn't your grandma's antique shop. This is a mantique shop. For more information, check them out on Facebook or give them a call, 304-757-9589. The Dell Sparks Collection. Dell's documented WVU sports for over 30 years and features the greatest moments in Mountaineer history. Check out his magic moments from Major Harris, Pat White, Tavon Austin, and so many more. For all of your favorite Mountaineer moments printed and framed, visit dellsparks.com or give him a call, 304-296-6004. The Griffith Law Center, PLLC, a Charleston-based law firm servicing the entire state of West Virginia and parts of southern Kentucky, specializing in serious injuries, wrongful death, and wrongful termination. The Griffith Law Center. Now you have a friend that's a lawyer. Call today for a free consultation at 304-345-8999 or give them a visit on the web at protectingwv.com. For all of your web and graphic design, go with the best. Go with our friends at Loggerhead Designs. They're true graphic professionals. Anything from business cards to high-end websites. They can handle it all. The next time you need your ads to really pop, head over to loggerheaddesigns.com or call 910-541-0143. All right, welcome everybody back into section 304, and we're joined on the phone by WVU great Amos Zereoue. Amos is going to be inducted into the WVU Sports Hall of Fame this Saturday, so if you're in Morgantown for the Maryland game, make sure you get over there and see Amos. Get his recognition that is, in my opinion, late. But Amos, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Can't complain, man. What a wonderful day.
Well, listen, man, first, you think about all the great running backs at WVU. When they call you and say, hey, we're putting you into the Sports Hall of Fame here, how'd that make you feel when you get the phone call?
Oh, man, I was like, it's about damn time. No, I'm just joking. It was a great feeling. I mean, Oliver Luck gave me a call and, told me that, it was official that I was getting inducted. And, honestly, I was surprised at the announcement, but I was also elated at the same time. So it was definitely a great news.
Well,
just to get from out.
It's well deserved.
As Amos, this is Matt here, man. I mean, as you're one of the, in my opinion, you're one of the greatest Mountaineers. We just went around the horn, and I got you as my greatest running back ever at WVU. As a Mountaineer, man, what's bigger for you? Would you have rather you had a huge day out in South Bend? Would you have rather beat Notre Dame? Or would you say the highlight of your career is that first carry, just jamming it up Pitt's ass and taking it to the house on him?
Oh, definitely the first carry against Pitt. It's my first collegiate carry, national television. Everyone at home is watching. Surprised my teammates knew the type of talent I was during the, training camps and as a freshman. So it was my opening night. So, to be able to just take one to the house on the first collegiate carry just definitely kind of put me on the map and the whole Mountaineer Nation and everyone on the in the country to make them aware of who was coming. So I'll have to say my first carry. I would have loved to have won that game against Notre Dame, though.
You had a huge day out there, man. That was a huge day, and I mean, regardless of the win or not win, you still had a monster day out there, and you really took it to South Bend and showed them you knew what the deal was.
Hey, Amos, this is Cam here. I got a little bit of a throwback question for you, non-football related. What were your favorite bars to go downtown to pick up women back in your Morgantown days?
Oh, man, my favorite bars. As a freshman, I don't know if it's still open. It was Speedy's. That was initially the first bars that myself and a couple of my teammates, we used to hit up that spot religiously.
That was your go-to spot, huh?
Yeah. Well, that's the only one we could really afford to go into, so.
Yeah, they had like 10-cent pitchers or something crazy like that.
I think it was Club Z back in my day is what they changed it to.
Yeah, it was Speedy's and then
that's
Club
exactly,
Z.
yeah.
Hey, Amos, this is John. I just wanted to ask you, we were playing Maryland in 96. It was 3rd and 40, and Coach Nealon called a draw to you, and you picked up 41 yards. What were you thinking before they snapped the ball? Did you think you were going to get 41?
Oh, no. I'm just saying, let me just get the ball, get as much as I can, and, get off the field. So as soon as I get the ball, I'm running 5 yards, 10 yards. I'm like, whoa, I got something. So all of a sudden, I'm running. So I started to open up. And ironically, the guy that made the tackle, we ended up playing together in Pittsburgh, Chad Scott. And he's actually going to be there this weekend, and we talk about it all the time. But it was just something that I did not realize was going to happen once it opened up. Once I realized it was it was open. The guy came from out of nowhere and got me, but it was definitely something I did not expect.
You know, I've always said that was Coach Nealon probably called that play and said, all right, this is the last time I'm ever going to call the draw. If it doesn't work, I'm never going to run it again. And you ran for 41 yards. He just kept calling it after that. You know, Amos, you know, obviously you pay attention to West Virginia football still, and we talked about it when you were here. Give us your thoughts on the current running backs at WVU and what you're seeing. You know, in the local press, they're talking about West Virginia's having trouble running the football. So what do you think about the current state of the running backs and of the two between Shell and Smallwood? Would you say you have a favorite, or do they bring two different things to the game?
I think they bring two different games to the table. I think Shell's he's more of a thicker, hit it up there type of back, and the other kid is more of a slasher. He's slimmer, more of a catch out of the backfield type, open field type of back. I think they kind of complement each other. I don't know as far as home run hitting. I haven't witnessed it yet from either of them, but hopefully we can get a lot of those this year. And but I think they bring two different things to the table, but both good backs.
Absolutely. Hey, so other than yourself, and we've also talked about this, WVU has a history of a lot of great running backs. And earlier in our show here today, we had a fantasy football week. We listed our all-time greatest running backs, and actually at every position, our all-time teams. And your name came up, I believe, in all of three of the four of the members here. Talk a little bit about other than yourself, who are the best running backs ever to play at West Virginia?
At WVU?
Yes.
Oh man, we had a bunch of them. We had Slayton, Steve, we had Avon, we had I'm trying to go back in the day, Andre Johnson, we had Alexander, we had what else we had? We had Robert Walker, Jimmy Carey. Let me just do two or three backs, or
pick your favorite two. If you were going to pick two, who would you say that your two favorite? Although there's a ton of them, I could go all day. But if you're going to have to pick two,
hey, you put me on the spot now. Oh man, if I had to pick two, I'll have to say Avon and Steve.
I would agree with that wholeheartedly. So, all right. Speaking of Steve Slayton, I don't know if you follow him on Facebook and Twitter.
Chef Steve now, isn't he?
Chef Steve is cooking it up. What is it with you running backs and wanting to get in the kitchen all of a sudden?
We like to cook, man. We like to make things happen. You know, we like to serve up something that people will enjoy on the field as far as, on the table. So, it's just being creative. It's an art form that you get to put things together and see people enjoy it. And I didn't know that, but I'm happy to hear that's what he's doing. I actually going to reach out. I'm actually going to reach out to him to see if he's going to be able to make it this weekend.
Great. Amos, this is Matt again, man. Hey, what's your favorite meal to prepare?
My favorite? There's no one specific because I change every once in a while. There's always something that pops up. But now I'm making a specific type of wings, some jerk wings. I'm working on my jerk wings, or jerk chicken wings. So that's what I'm working on now. Just trying to get
not only are you my favorite running back of all time, you've now become my favorite chef, telling me that you're throwing down the chicken wings in the kitchen. You're my guy. You're my go-to guy all around.
Well, here's what we'll do. We'll reach out to Steve, and I think what we ought to do one weekend in Morgantown is have a cook-off between Amos and Steve. We'll have their own tailgate, and they can just make a big buffet for everybody to swing by and sample all their goods.
I'll definitely be up for that.
All right. Well, Amos, once again, man, congratulations on your induction to the WVU Sports Hall of Fame. Well deserved and
long time overdue. Bro.
Yeah, overdue for sure. And I will be there Saturday morning. And I know you've got a busy morning, but as we talked on Facebook, please, if you have the opportunity, you and all of your guests are welcome to stop by our tailgate. We're going to be out in the blue lot, and I'll send you that information. But if you can't make it, I will definitely be there to see you get your acknowledgement on Saturday morning.
Thanks a lot, fellas. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me, and good luck on the show. We'll see you soon.
All right, Amos. Appreciate it, my friend. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Amos Zereoue. Once again, like I was saying, he's going to be inducted into the WVU Sports Hall of Fame Saturday morning. And man, I tell you, if he brings some of those jerk chicken wings,
Dude, I'm on those.
I won't
you
be
stay
talking,
off those.
I won't be talking to a damn one of you. I'll be sitting there knocking back some jerk wings.
Cam, you're not allowed to have those because Amos doesn't respect D&D players who sit around and play Dungeons and Dragons on a Saturday instead of watching football. You stay away from those jerk chicken wings, you clown.
Here's the funny
Go
thing.
drink your vino and play your video games.
Wait. Here's the thing. My buddy Luke Wade actually went to play Dungeons and Dragons a few weeks ago. And we couldn't get enough people to play with this at our local spot.
You know
so
why you
I
can't
actually
get enough
don't
people
play
to play?
Dungeons and Dragons, but I tried. I tried to play Dungeons and Dragons.
You know why you can't get enough people to play Dungeons and Dragons?
once
Because there's
again-
not enough nerds in the world around here
And
to
our-
play Dungeons and Dragons. with you.
You're right, you're
are
right.
Just dropping off left and right because we're talking Dungeons and Dragons here. Well, first let's move on and talk a little bit about Maryland. Did you guys watch them against South Florida yesterday?
I did not.
I didn't get to see.
I watched a little piece of it, but when I caught into it, I had just finished moving the fridge and the stove, and when I jumped into it, Maryland was up pretty big, so I didn't see a whole lot. But what I did see, it looked like their quarterback could be rattled. I'd like to say that if we get some pressure in there, I think their quarterback can be rattled easy, and I'd like to think that our defense is going to come and be ready to go. I know that after the last game, the coaches really weren't satisfied. They said the defense wasn't playing up to their expectations. And, I think the defense comes out and we drop the sledgehammer before the game, and then we drop the hammer on that ass during the game. And I think we get into Maryland by about 21, hopefully.
Well, what I saw of them yesterday, it looked like South Florida was able to move the ball pretty handily against them. I did see South Florida get a touchdown called back, I think, in second or third quarter. And when I was watching, they were moving the ball. I don't think we're going to have too many problems moving the ball against them. But even watching ball games yesterday, and we'll get back to Maryland here in a second. Did you guys watch Texas, California last night?
I saw the way it ended, man. What an ending. What a great ending.
Well,
Hook 'em horns.
Let me tell you something. Before, I honestly thought Texas was going to struggle a lot this year. And obviously, they lost yesterday. But that quarterback
Heard? Is it heard or heard? Heard?
he looked pretty good, man. He was able to throw the ball around, and he's pretty elusive. And we don't do well against guys that can take off and run the ball.
By the time we play Texas, Lou, Charlie Strong's going to be fired. It's going to be in total shambles down there.
That is definitely not true.
Charlie
Look,
Strong.
the Big 12 defenses I watched yesterday were awful. We're the only team in the Big 12 with a pretty good defense, in my opinion. I mean,
Have we been challenged yet, though?
SMU moved the ball all over Baylor and TCU. I think we're going to win the league, guys. I'm telling you, I'm
love it.
optimistic about this team.
Blue and gold glasses over here on Chrome.
Here we go.
You guys are drinking Miller Lite. I'm drinking blue and gold.
Don't shout the beer out, Crum. Don't tell them what beer we're drinking. Just let them look at the pictures. The beer tastes good though.
But back to Maryland, and we'll go around the horn here real quick. John, what do you see this Saturday? Give me your prediction for the ball game.
Saturday, I'm really not too concerned with Maryland. If we do what we have to do, we're gonna take care of them. I mean, I was at the game last year in College Park, and we should have blown them out. We let them back in the game with turnovers, a punt return, and then a complete blown coverage. I think they threw a touchdown to Diggs or one of those guys. Anyway, I think if we handle our business, I think the defense is going to come out extremely motivated after they said they were disappointed. I thought they played all right against Liberty. I think we win by at least 17. I'm not really worried about Maryland, to be honest.
I like it, Crum.
Cam?
I'm sitting here looking at Maryland's stats. Their quarterback had 3 picks yesterday. He went for almost 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, but still 3 picks. I think our defense has to be a little bit better than South Florida's. I mean, is that not a given? The only real worry is their punt returner, kick returner. Will
Likely?
Yep, Will Likely.
Dude went for like 330 a couple weeks ago on just punt returns.
Hey, let's just not kick to him.
Relax.
Crumbs hit you.
Defoe has got that on lockdown.
Well, here we go.
Don't bring up that. But
Relax.
anyway, I say we win by, I don't know. Yeah, I'm with Crumb, 17 points or so.
I'm going to go ahead and I watched a little bit of Maryland yesterday. I think we get to that quarterback, we rattle him. I think our secondary is too good. You know who's going to be my guy next week. I'm going to go ahead and put this out there. We've been hating on him. I'm the leader of the hate club. I'm going to say my boy Mr. Shell comes to play. And I'm going to say Mr. Shell is going to go for about 35, a couple of touchdowns, and he's going to make us eat shit and fall back in it.
I think Shell is going to be your beer of the week, buddy.
It's time.
Yeah.
It's time for Russell to step up, and this is his game. And I think we pound Maryland. I think we win by 3 touchdowns easy. I would almost like to say, if we don't beat Maryland by 21, I'll sing karaoke on here next Sunday, boys. Am I going too far with that?
What song?
I'll let you guys.
I get a pick song.
I'll let you guys pick the song. I'll let people who listen to the show pick the song. If we don't roll Maryland by 21, I'm going to do some karaoke. Let's get weird.
Oh boy. Well, cheers. I think next week. Usually, well, if you go back to the Liberty game, you're not going to get guys that are all that excited to play. I mean, it's hard to get fired up. And people are bitching about the defense and da-da-da-da-da. Listen, these guys, they know when Maryland comes onto the schedule, that's when it's time to turn it up a little bit. So I think next week you're going to see an offense and defense step up the play. I like us next week. I don't like us 3 touchdowns. I don't like us by 21. I'm gonna probably kick it around the 17. We're going to be at least a 2 touchdown favorite over Maryland next week. I think we handle Maryland and get ready.
Can I ask you guys a question though?
I got a question for you.
You're saying you're not going to give us the 21, but you're going to take 17, 18, 19, 20.
Well, I say 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, well, you're saying you take it at 17. That's a 4-point difference. Just come on, Lou. Be on my team today.
Listen,
be on my team today, baby. Go with me, ride with me on 21, Lou.
Hey, but was I wrong last week?
No, but here's the thing. Here's what I want to present to you.
You always
we win by 3 touchdowns, or you and I karaoke Ebony and Ivory. What do we got? What are we looking at, Lou? I want to put that to you right now.
Well, I don't think we're going to win by 21. So
this is a paycheck game, isn't it? Yeah, come on.
I like it.
Come on.
Yes, I was paid this past week, but this is a paycheck game. I like us on the spread. And Lou, I just want you right now. I want you to ride and die with me right now. And I want you to commit to this. If we don't beat them by 21, me and you, baby.
It's going to happen.
Ebony and Ivory.
We're going to not win by 21. And we're going to
Ebony and Ivory next week if we don't win by 21.
We'll probably win by 17.
Open the show, Ebony and Ivory.
Commit to me. Commit to me right now. Tell me you're going to do Ebony and Ivory with me.
You can. I'll tell you what. I'll sing the backup, the harmony. How about that? And you can sing the whole song.
You got to
weak
do
sauce,
Ebony and Ivory.
Weak sauce.
Well, I just don't think we're going to win by 21 next week. So, but obviously it's a big game for West Virginia. It sets the tone for your season. You fuck around and lose to Maryland.
Then you go to Norman the next week.
Yeah, that could spell disaster. And
right now, I don't want to carry that hangover to Oklahoma. I'll tell you that much.
You want to handle Maryland and get ready for Oklahoma.
Maryland's always been our kind of barometer game.
Yeah,
I can only think of 2 seasons where we lost to Maryland and then ended up having pretty good years. That was when they had McBride 02-03. So we have to win.
Yeah. Well, there's not if you lose to Maryland. The majority of the time, you don't even go to a bowl.
And October gets rough, too.
Yes.
October, you get into Big 12 time. October is when we find out what we got. But I think we beat Maryland easy. I mean, I haven't placed any bets, but I've had some shit going on to where I'm not able to place those bets. I've had car problems. I don't need to bore you guys with my financial situations. But if I'm out there and I'm rolling in some cash, I'm putting a paycheck down on us to kick the shit out of Maryland.
All right. So we all agree that we're going to win. I say 14. You guys are closer to 21. I'm actually right around 17. I think we'll kick a field goal. We'll fuck around and not get in once. But listen, we got a couple of cool things coming up. Once again, if you guys are going to be at the West Virginia game next week, stop by and see us at the tailgate. Diddy's going to have lots of cold beer.
We'll have cold beers. There's going to be beers.
Koozies, lots of koozies.
Yeah, swing by, at least grab a koozie, say hello, and just come by and see us. And also, too, next week, we'll have a little bit more detail on it. If you're in the Charleston area on the 3rd of October for the West Virginia at Oklahoma, make sure you look into checking out there's an event here in Charleston called Guys Night Out, and I'll be there. The guys and I think some of the other guys hopefully will be there as well. But we've been invited to participate in this. It's a fundraiser for the YWCA. Look into it. They got lots of good food, man. They cook pigs, and at halftime they have the best wings in the valley event. And so tons of beer, tons of great food, and it's for a great cause. So look into that. Next week we'll have Doug Scaff on. He's going to come on and talk a little bit more about the event. And like once again, swing by and see us next week.
I know we're in a bye week, but can I do my beer of the week? I got one.
Yeah, if you got
I want to give it to our man right here, Steve. Steve welcomes us into his house.
Producer
every Sunday.
Steve, turning the knobs.
Steve Allen Adams. This is my guy. I want to give Steve the beer of the week, and I want to say thank you, Steve, for allowing us to do this show. And you know, it's shocking how many people listen to it, and we love the feedback, and you know, looking at how many people download it, listen to it. We thank you all for welcoming us into your car.
He's starting to get drunk,
whatever, on the weekends or Sundays, and you know, on your car rides. And I just want to give my beer of the week to Steve, because without Steve, none of this would happen. So
hug it out,
let's say
bitches.
salud, boys. This one's to Steve.
Cheers to Steve. Thank you, Steve,
Cheers,
for letting
Steve.
us come in and turning the knobs for us and keeping us straight, you know, sort of straight here in the show.
I would also like to shout out a beer of the week to Leonard Fournette for my LSU. I'm going to give him a early Heisman hype. I think he's going to take it.
What the fuck are you?
Who gave you beer of the week?
Dude, I get a beer
That's
of the week
my
too.
thing. You don't get
LSU?
beer of the week.
Yeah, fuck him. He's awesome. He looks like AP
Shut
back
up.
there. No,
So-
wait, I'm not done. No.
We're going to wind this show down, and we're going to go walk Cam out front and just kind of kick the shit out of him. LSU and
Get out
Dungeons
of
and
here.
Dragons.
Go play D&D.
Bolo.
All right.
Look
Next
for
week,
that.
folks, once again, come and see us at the tailgate in the Blue Lot, section C11. We'll be facing C12. And once again, thanks to our friends at Bogies, Scaff Construction, and my man Andrew Bird for letting us put that on over there in the Blue Lot. So thank you guys for listening, and we will see you guys next week.
C11, there's going to be beers.
Gonna be beers.
The producer for Section 304 is Steve Adams for SAA Productions. SAA Productions specializes in affordable, small-scale audio and video projects. Wanting to jump on the podcast bandwagon? Call 304-299-1234. That's 304-299-1234. And don't forget to check us out on Facebook and on Twitter.